we don't see too many people push to even the halfway point to take their 24s anymore, who are in the elite pack.
Well, you can't get behind, though, either. Yeah, so that's why you want that well-tuned team there.
Yeah, 85 different strategies out there, I'd say. To the start line now, Ellen Halverson getting ready to leave. Ellen's a two-time Red Lantern wearer. We're talking about winning the race. This is someone who's just trying to get there, and she's been, yes, last in both 2007 and 2011, but it's better than scratching.
Yeah, different kind of goals. She's had 4 times where she didn't finish, so again, I would assume her goal is to just get to Nome, not worry about what place she's in, enjoy her race and her time with her dogs out there. You know, people do this for different reasons. You know, they really do. Works
as a psychiatrist, so that kind of comes into play when you're trying to get a dog to Nome, huh?
I guess you got to work at trying to psych out the dogs, right?
She said in her first finish, 2007, the dogs wandered out onto the sea ice.
Oh, yeah.
We actually got to go over there, please.
It can be dangerous, especially when you don't have a lot of experience, but I hope she has a good race.
But in her other finish, 2011, she shaved 3 days off her 2007
time. She was happy with that,
A couple of reporters working for us downtown. Nikki Carvajal, what do you have?
Hey there, I am here with Connor and Kelton. So I'm guessing people can probably guess by your hat, but where are you guys from?
Colorado.
Colorado as well, yeah. So what do you guys think of the Iditarod so far?
I think it's cool. This is the first time we've ever been to an Iditarod. Possibly second. Because I couldn't remember if it was, if I went one time, because I was probably really young then.
What do you think of the dogs?
I really like them. They're really cool. They're getting all excited. I think it's really cool watching them like run as fast as they can, even though brakes are all on.
Do you guys think that you'll follow the Iditarod once you get home? Do you think you'll come back again?
I think we should come back.
Yeah, I will definitely be following everyone on the website, watching their progress and how they're doing.
And you guys can check in on KTUU.com as well. So back to you guys in the studio.
Absolutely. KTUU.com will have a lot of coverage throughout the race as we had a look at Michelle Phillips. There she goes. 6 consecutive finishes, 2010 to 2015. Her career high 16th. 2012, always has a smile. I mean, she is one of the more delightful people out there.
Yeah, she's always really upbeat, and her husband Ed was fifth in the Quest this year. So again, they've got that advantage of having a lot of good miles and training on that dog team.
At the start line, a true contender, your life, Seth Olson. Check out this resume. First 3 Iditarods he's been in, 7th, 4th, and 6th.
Yeah, and he really does have this calm personality. There's kind of a legend about him in Norway where he just appeared out of the woods one day. You know, because like, where did this guy come from?
He's a pretty quiet guy, but he did speak about his race goals for 2016.
You have 3 top 7 finishes. What's it going to take to dethrone Dallas?
I don't know. Not many people has done it yet, so we'll see.
How does this year's team stack up to your last year's?
I think this is pretty much, it's a lot of the same dogs, but I got a few dogs that I couldn't bring last year that's in the team, so I think it's a pretty strong group of dogs.
He always seems to come on late in these races, too, where he's made up quite a few positions along the coast. We talk about how the coast is where the race can be won. Well, you can also increase your finish position if you don't win, and that's where he's done it in these races so far.
Yeah, and again, being maybe just a little conservative in the start. If you can get your team through those first few days and they're good, then you can really get on a roll. He's had a good season with the 3rd place in the Cusco. His girlfriend ran in one of the races with their dogs. They should be good, doing good. He's got an interesting situation with being over here on an athlete visa, too, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah, so I had to do some research on that stat about 2nd person ever to finish 7th or better in each of his first 3 Iditarods. The only other one to do that, Emmett Peters.
Yeah.
Way back.
I mean, this guy could easily be top 5.
Yeah, he's certainly a contender.
He's really good shape, you know.
People like Doug Swingley and Rick Swenson were top 10 in their first 3 years, but that specific stat of top 7 or better, just him and Emmett Peters all time in Iditarod history. So a real threat, potentially, if he puts it all together.
And they said his Iditarider is Francis Lockwood, who's 10th time as an Iditarod rider, a retired teacher. Teachers are our biggest fans.
Absolutely. Well, here's another potential threat. Brent Sass, 2015 Yukon Quest champion, second place in that event this year. Of course, he had the situation last year being disqualified. In the Iditarod.
Bring in the iPad. I bet he doesn't have one on his sled this year. And he's got his trademark crash helmet from his incident in the Quest. He crashed off his sled, got knocked out 2 years ago. So he's had his bad luck out of the way. Maybe this year he'll have a good, clean run.
Governor Bill Walker just shook his hand.
I just saw that on the back of his jacket.
Brent talking about his run to Nome.
Tell me about the state of your team.
They're in wonderful shape. We just came off the Yukon Quest, and they are ready to rock and roll. I'm really excited about this race.
Does last year's Iditarod ever cross through your mind, or are you pretty well over the incident?
I put it all behind me. I mean, there's a little bit of, the comeback is in the back of my head for sure. I just can't wait to get to know him. It's been a couple years since I got there, so I'm just excited to be back. And yeah, there's a little bit of motivation there, but I'm over it for the most part.
He certainly has had a mixed bag. His victory in the Yukon Quest last year, second in that event. He's also been Rookie of the Year here.
Well, you just make the best of the bad things, so there's always a lesson to be learned. And of course, we want to say hi to Joey and Pam Reddington out there at Manly, and I know Brent is a frequent customer at your house for coffee, and Brett has had some amazing training out there this year, and he really works his dogs in kind of a more traditional way, like going out and visiting people and making the dogs camp. And I think he's that's going to be a good advantage for him in a way, as I imagine his team is pretty well kind of calm and under control.
It takes a bit to get to anybody where he lives, in Eureka.
Yeah, but in these years where there isn't much snow, the better control you have over that dog team, where they will actually stop and wait calmly for you, that's going to be key as ever, I think, Second place in the Cusco 300 this year as well, behind only Peter Kaiser, who has been spoken of so highly as a potential threat in this race. So Brent Sass, the contenders seem to be everywhere. We talked about Sass, we talked about Kaiser, Petit as a potential dark horse, of course the Seavies. Yeah, nobody's really sure where Brett's going to shake out this year, he's got a good pedigree from what he's done, but hasn't done as much on the Iditarod the last few years. So anyway, it'll be a surprise. We'll see.
Yeah, and of course, Sass with the death of his lead dog, Basin, earlier this winter. So
Yeah,
a little bit of a new outlook and a new roster for his team, but he's looking like a contender. Back to the start line, Wade Mars, who's made some incremental improvements in his 4 finishes. Career high 8th last year. He's been 32nd. He's been 16th. He's been 8th. So by that mathematical progression, he'll be 4th, right?
if the math works in his direction, yes. Yeah, no, a great young musher. It's been really neat to see him coming up in the ranks. I've known Wade since he was just a little kid. And, yeah, he's got some great people working with him and helping him.
Only 25. I mean, the composition of his kennel is relatively lightweight dogs who can execute these short runs on short rest. They move pretty quickly, and he really enjoys coaching his dogs. Take a listen.
It's always worrying that they're not going to be the perfect dog, but a lot of times the worst ones when they're young become like the best ones when they're older, and vice versa.
He thinks he can be right there.
I think he's already had his bad luck for the year, because they had a truck crash on the way to the Tug 150 and had a couple dogs get loose, and Reddington's helped catch them, and that must have been pretty exciting. Oh, he's got a little smaller dogs than some of the guys I've seen.
Lightweights, but I think he said they average about 47 pounds.
See, everybody can have their own little style of dogs, which is kind of neat too.
He said in the past he would sleep a little too much, so I think his in-race management is one of the things that, and that's part of it. It's not just all about traveling speed with your dog team. It's how you manage the entire 9 to 10 days, however long it takes you to get there.
Exactly, yeah, and it's tough. The sleep deprivation is really tough. And
Jake Berkowitz on 4th Avenue. Do you have a comment, Jake?
Yeah, we are definitely seeing the up-and-coming generation in these last few mushers leaving the starting line here. One person who I haven't mentioned yet, who I think has a really good shot at winning this race, is Brent Sass, coming right behind us right now. Brent knows what it takes to win a 1,000-mile race. Good friend of mine, John Baker, 2011 Iditarod champion, told me if you're going to win, you need to believe you win for 1,000 miles. Brent coming off of a Yukon Quest win 2 years ago and a very strong second place this year with a very fast dog team at the end. Definitely look at him making a push here.
Yeah, you can always tell Brent because he's got those fluorescent green dog booties.